In this tutorial, I'll discuss the graphs that you can get out of R and how to get several of them. The graphing commands take several parameters. These are pretty much common to all the graphs. If you want to put a title at the top, the parameter is main equals, and then put your title in quotes. For the label, it's XLAB. Y label is YLAB. It will give you a default based on the variables, but if you want a different one, in case you don't like the defaults, you just add XLAB or YLAB equals. Put it in quotes. If you don't end it in quotes, it will give you an error. Okay, sometimes you might want to set the limits on your graph. You can do that by using the YLim or XLim. Okay, so for example, for YLim, you set it equal to C. C, remember being concatenate or combine. You want to think of it that way. And you give it two values, the minimum value and the maximum value. So you can have that kind of control over your graph if you need it. These are, next two terms are good. One is LTY. This has to do with your scatter or your line plots. It is the line type, right? If you set line type equal to 1, you get a solid line. If you set it equal to 2, you get dashed. 3, you get dotted. PCH is the type of point. So if you want to show the points on the graph, if you have a 1, it's an open circle. 16, it's a solid circle. 2, it's a triangle. 17, it's a solid triangle. And if you want asterisk, use 8. Obviously, there's a whole bunch more in here. I just listed a few of them. Of course, you can get all the graphs of statistics out of R, but for this class, these are the ones that you'll find useful. One's called either a scatter plot, which would just be a plot of the dots, of the points, or a line plot, in which you're drawing a line between the points, and that is conveniently labeled plot. So you type plot in parentheses, and then you give it the x values. This would be a list of x values, and y, a vector of y values, which you calculated somewhere else usually, and then you give it some of the parameters from the previous page. Plot has this unique parameter called type, and if you say type equals p, that's the default. All you get are the points. If you say type equals line, you just get a line. If you say type equals quote b unquote, you get both points and line. And say you have your graph up there and you want to add another line to it. If you type plot again, that plot window will disappear and you'll get a whole nother plot. So there are two commands you can use if you want to add a line to an existing plot. One is lines. In that case, you give it another x, another y, and a set of parameters. Its default is type equal L when you add lines to a plot. There's another that you'll see used in linear regression when we get to that, and that's AB line. In this case, nothing changes with the y values. You don't have to give new y values or even new x values. All you give is the y-intercept and the slope for the line that you want to put on. So for example, if you type AB line 0, 0, this will give you a line through y equals 0, and it will have 0 slope, so it will be a horizontal line. It's like, say here's your 0. That's all you're going to get. All right, and this is handy. You want to put the linear regression line on there. Of course, you have to put the actual slope and the y-intercept for your regression line. The next plot we're going to do is a histogram, and for a histogram, you give the name of the variable, and then you give the number of breaks. There is a default, and you usually get 6 or 8 breaks, and that looks pretty good. Breaks will be what we've called in the past the classes. So if you want 3 classes, or 3, you say breaks equals 3, these are right together, you'll get something like that. If you say breaks equals 6, then of course you get, I don't know, 6 of them. They'll look different, of course. And the third plot that we're going to work with are the box and whisker plots. All you need for box and whisker plots is to give it the name of the variable. But if you want it to be a horizontal box plot, then you have to say horizontal equals true. The default is false, which is giving you a vertical plot. you can make many box plots on one page by give it the first variable, which is the one that's going to be the box plot, you're making box plot of, with respect to a second variable. For example, if you took, I've been using the example of the weights with the chickens on the different diets. If you said weight, if you use weight for the first variable and then you use a tilde and you put diet, what R will do was select the first diet, R, or say 1, and do a box plot for that weight. Then it will go to diet number 2, get another box plot for that weight, and display all of that on the same graph. So I'm going to now do some of the plots that are discussed in the written tutorial. When you go to do them yourself, of course you're going to have the written tutorial next to you and just try it out. Okay, so I want to do a scatter plot, so I attach some data. Well, first I spell it right. Well, I'm still going to spell it right. Let's attach that Motor Trend car data. I can go look at it by doing MT cars. There it is. And make sure, see what I want to plot. Let's say I want to plot horsepower versus weight. So I've got a column of horsepower, column of weight. Okay, I can do that. So I go back down here. I'm going to plot those. So I give the X value first. Because this is the only thing attached, I don't have to do it in the formal way. I can do it informally and just write. What did I want? Oh, horsepower. That will be the X-axis, and weight is going to be on the Y-axis. Okay, now when I hit enter, R knows I'm not done with this command because it doesn't see the closing parentheses. So instead of giving me the less than sign, it gives a plus, and I can go on typing. This helps. Okay, instead of running it all the way across the page. Okay, what do I want to do? I want to type, and I'm going to put the parameter here even though it's a default. Right? And maybe I want the point types to be 8. I want asterisk for my point types. I give it a label, and the label is going to be, what am I plotting here? Horsepower on the X. Remember, close parentheses, comma between every variable, every parameter. Y label, I'll say is weight. If I don't, it'll just say WT and HP, which would be fine. And when I, whoops, and I want to give it a title, and I'll just say Motor Trend data. Okay, I'm done. At least I hope I didn't make an error. And when I hit return, yes, I see the plot. There's the plot right there. And now the menu, the GUI part of the menu has changed. I'm going to lower this a little bit so you can see it. The menu GUI has changed, and if I want to plot this off and submit it for homework, I go to File, and I can go to Print right here. Now I'll do a second plot. In this case, I'm going to put a bunch of line plots on one graph. So I'll use the command. This command doesn't always work so well, but I'm going to go ahead and use it. I want to go and plot some trig functions. So I'll go from 0 to 4 pi. You have to put the, you have to multiply it there. And remember, for pretty, you have to put the colon. If you look under entering data, you'll see this command again. It just gives a bunch of intervals. And let's say I want 100 intervals, so I'll put 100 out here. Now I'm going to get one y-axis, which will be the sine of t, and then I get the cosine. And because t is a vector, y sine and y cosine are also vectors. And now I'm going to plot them. So the first thing is I'll plot up at the cosine first. And I only want lines, so I type quote L quote. I didn't tell you about this, but you can type the color. Let's say the color is going to be red. And let's give it the X label of time. I think I'm okay so far. I keep getting pluses because I haven't ended the command. Y label is going to be amplitude. And I'm done, and hope I did okay. So it's always kind of scary. There, I got the first plot. You can see it right there. Now I want to add a curve to this, so I go back to the console area, and I'm going to type lines. The x, or the horizontal value, is that vector of t values again. Now I'm going to put the sign on there. Okay, that was my other y value, and I'm giving you this just for instructional purposes, but the default is line, and I want this one to be a blue. So I'll go quote blue unquote, and let's see what happens now. Oh, lost the graph, which is hidden under here. There we go. Okay, there you see red and blue on the same graph by using plots first to get the plot, going back to the console window, and typing in lines. Some of the data sets stored in R are not data frames. Instead, they're just lists of values, but we can still use them. One is called rivers, and that's the length of some rivers in North America. I'll just type rivers so you can see what it is. List of values. And I want to make a histogram of this, so the command is hist. Okay, give it the name rivers, and now I can specify how many breaks I want. That's how many vertical bars I get in the histogram. So I'll go breaks equals, say, 15. I can put a label on it. Let's put an axis label of lengths of rivers. Good enough. Let's just leave it at that. You can do more. And here's the histogram. Okay, I'm going to go back to the console and show you what happens when I change breaks. Well, actually, why do that? I can use the up arrow and get breaks to be, let's set breaks equal to 5, and I don't care about the title for right now, so I'll just say breaks equal 5, and where's my plot window? There it is. Again, go up, the GUI has changed because the plot window is active. Go up here to file and print it off, or use the little print button. The last example I'm going to demonstrate are the box and whisker plots. And to do that, let me attach, I'll use the one in the example in the written tutorial, the car data again. And now I'll make a box and whisker plot out of one of the variables. And one was weight of the cars. So I can do that directly, but because the 5-number summary is directly related to the box and whisker plot, I'm going to just get the 5-number summary, and remember the 5-number summary is just summary, and I give it the data. I'll do it formally here just for demonstration purposes. If you want to formally get that and make sure you're getting that particular value, you give it the name of the data frame, put a $sign, and we'll do weight. There is a 5-number summary, the min, the max, the quartiles, and the mean. And that surely was easier than finding it yourself. Okay, now let's do a box plot. Box and whisker plot is just box plot. Give it the name of the variable, which is going to be, better spell it right, weight. And now if I want it to be a horizontal box plot, I say horizontal equals true. Default is false. And you can go ahead and give a title to it if you want. Main equals car weights. Not very imaginative, but there you go. Okay. There's the box and whisker plot right there. Let me pull it into the viewing window. Okay. And we see the extremes of data that lie inside the inner fence. And I've seen some outliers. Now the last plot I'll demonstrate is how to make multiple box plots. This can be useful later on in the course. So I have to attach something that has data versus several different parameters, and one is that this was a bunch of chickens fed different diets. Great. That's okay. I use the up arrow, go over here, fix it up, and there we go. Alright, that worked. And we can print it off by going chick weight, and that'll just show us everything that's in that file, so we can pick up our variables correctly, and wherever it is, there we go. There's a lot of chickens in there. Okay, weight, lowercase, diet, uppercase. We also got, how many chickens we have? We've got a lot of chickens. We could, no, that's too many chickens. We'll just do it against the diet. Okay, so I'm back down here. Now I say box plot again. And now the first variable I'm going to use is going to be chick weight, $ weight. And then I give the tilde, and I type the second variable correctly, and it was diet. Look at that, lowercase on that W, uppercase on the diet, otherwise you get an error and you can't figure out what it is. Okay, this will give us several box plots on the same graph. I'm not setting the horizontal, I'm taking the default, so I will get vertical box plots. Well, that was good. I don't mind making these errors, because when you make them you'll say, oh, big deal. Okay, here we go. There we go. That's the chicken weights versus 4 different kinds of diets. See, it gives you a default here. And I didn't specify the X label. It went ahead and pulled up the diet from the X label. And this was weights. I could have written weights over here. But that's your multiple box plots on the same graph.